Thanks for stopping by my channel. I am Serge T. And in this video, I will be taking a look, I'll be talking about Monday Night Raw for the 6th of May, 2024. And this is the Raw after Backlash. And on the heels of an amazing historical night that was Backlash, what does Raw have in store for us? Also, this is a new era as the draft takes effect starting tonight. Now tonight, the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring tournament has 4 qualifying matches, 2 per tournament, with another taking place at a live event this weekend. I'm thinking, a live event? I guess that's a good thing for the people that go to live events. They get to be treated to a qualifying match. I guess that's good. Now, there's breaking news that Drew McIntyre will not participate due to being not medically cleared to compete in tonight's event. But the Judgment Day are in the ring, led by El Campeon, Damian Priest. Main event Jey Uso, says Priest, as McAfee says, yeet. You guys love him, huh? Says Priest. Yeet, says McAfee again. He's a goof, but we love him, right? It seems to be that the entire country of France loved him too. But in the end, that didn't matter because I'm still your world heavyweight champion. So rise for El Campeon. Now I feel the need to speak about what went down with the Judgment Day at Backlash. Finn says, listen big man, I'm sure we went over this 100 times. Look, when me and JD apologized after Backlash, we meant it. We're sorry. Damian replies, we're good. I get the apology. We're fine, but that's not what I'm talking about. I need to address what went down after the match. I need everybody to know. I want to do this publicly because what went down after the match, that was on me. I lost my cool. You guys were there to help me support me, make sure that I stay champion. And I am so for that. Boo. The crowd boos. Like it or not, I am the champion. And for that, continues Priest, guys, sincerely, I'm sorry and thank you. JD, I do appreciate you, man. And Finn, you're my brother, dog. All 3 hug it out. What a sweet moment, huh? And Dom comes over and joins in a feel-good moment, right? All right, enough, says Priest. Kind of like bring the masculinity back into the room. That's what he's trying to do. And yeah, it was starting to get a little mushy, I must say. But back to business, says Priest. Because I'm still El Campeon. We're still the most dominant faction in this entire damn business. And Finn Balor is your next king of the ring. Finn replies, oh yeah. And seeing as poor Drew McIntyre isn't medically cleared tonight, guess who gets their first round bye in the King of the Ring tournament? Me, points to himself, as I'm like going, are you sure there, Finn? And boys, you know what that means. You know what that means? That's the first step. Prince becoming a king. You know, he's known as Prince Devitt when he was in the Indies, when he was in New Japan and all that, and you know, finally the prince may become the king. Bow down to the king, proclaims Damian Priest, and Finn shouts out to Samantha Irvin, I need you to stand up. I need you to walk over here. And as Finn continues to talk, he is interrupted by the Raw GM, Adam Pearce. Hold on, says about 5 times. It says, what? Who is that? What are you doing here? Says Balor. The Raw GM speaks and says, Finn, I feel you might be confused. Drew McIntyre is out of the tournament, but you are not getting a first round bye. What, you don't like it? Well, that's too damn bad. You don't run Monday Night Raw. I do. Being crowned King of the Ring is one of the biggest honors in WWE. So if you're going to win it, you're damn sure gonna earn it. So Judgment Day clear the ring, Judgment Day, because what happened at Backlash won't happen tonight. Finn Balor, your match is next, and your opponent is main event Jey Uso. Jey's music hits, and we are getting this mother yeeted to a great start. Yeet. Our first round match kicks off. Jey Uso versus Finn Balor with Judgment Day removed from ringside, banned from ringside, however you want to call it. They're not going to get involved. Now, this is the 23rd King of the Ring tournament in 1989 is when the KOTR, the King of the Ring tournament, debuted, and it was the legendary Don the Rock Morocco, the original Rock, who won it. And these two are fun to watch in the ring together. They gel together. They put on an amazing stuff in here. But Finn controls Uso, grounds him, and dictates the pace. But Uso gets back into it and yeets his way onto Balor with a suicide dive through the second ropes. But Balor would retake control of the match with physicality outside the ring. This match could be either man's to have, but at this point, Balor commands all the attention as he dominates. As he is dominant at this moment. But Jey hits back, and with every punch, the crowd goes yeet. Jey does too many yeets, trying to get the crowd hyped, and Balor explodes out of the corner, connecting with a clothesline. We then see Balor try a sling blade, but Jey ducks underneath and hits a kick to Balor's solar plexus, and finishes with a super kick and knocks down Balor. Balor is in the prone position, and Jey looks to take flight with the Uso splash. But Balor moves, and Jey rolls through and is met with a double drop kick, sending Uso into the corner turnbuckle, setting up Jey for the coup de grace. Some people say coup de grace. I guess it's coup de grace. I thought it was coup de grace. Do they say that in French? Grass? Or do they say gras? Whatever. With Jey in the drop zone, Balor misses. And Jey hits a rather sluggish-looking spear. But he connects and only gets a 2 count. Maybe it's because Jey didn't put a little more oomph into that spear. But Drew comes down to ringside, and it's just enough to distract Jey as Balor executes the sling blade and looks to nail Uso with a missile dropkick, but Jey hits a better spear and pins Balor to advance. And Drew looks on and just nods his head in disgust. But hey, Jey took your place. You're not cleared. What does Drew want? Now next, a little bit of, they're doing a little bit of a preview. The Pitbull, Ivy Nile, and Zoey Stark takes place tonight in an opening round match for the Queen of the Ring, And the man Becky Lynch is set to be interviewed by Michael Cole as well. And in the main event will be a first round qualifier in the King of the Ring tournament. And it's between the hard hitters. Two men with history dating back to WrestleMania 39, where they battled alongside McIntyre for the IC title. And of course, we know that is Drew, Sheamus, and the former IC champ, Gunther. And Drew is pouting, yelling at Pierce down backstage that Jey is in the tournament and replaced him. He has no one to blame but himself, as Pierce pointed out, letting everyone know about his arm when you're gonna have medical check it out. I remember that. But he's out there saying, my arm's this and my arm's that. It got my elbow's this. It got hurt by what do you call it. And of course, what's medical gonna do? But say, hey, come on, let's take a look at that. Let's look at that. And then in the end, Drew goes, screw you, Drew. Screw you, Drew. No, he looks at Adam Pearce and says, screw you. And then he takes off in his SUV, or POV. Don't know if it was an SUV. I'm thinking it was an SUV. CM Punk arrives, and what bad luck as he just missed McIntyre. But he asked Pierce, to have the truck back there play his music as he has something to say. Of course he does. And after Backlash, Punk was trapped for 48 hours at headquarters. But he got out, and he's here tonight. He starts. Is it good to be alive in Hartford, Connecticut, or what? Isn't this how he opened last week with the same old line? Okay. My apologies for showing up a little late. I've had a weekend. I got locked inside headquarters in Stanford, and by the time I got out, which was just a few short hours ago, it dawned on me that we're in the XL Center, so I drove straight here to be with you, beautiful maniacs. I also drove here to get in a fight with Drew McIntyre, but apparently he has left the building. Crowd boos. So Pat McAfee last week, if you recall, I said just to get under Drew's skin, as he sat in the cheap seats, I said I can do business in a short amount of time, that he was World Heavyweight Champion, which is 5 minutes and 46 seconds, right? Bingo, says Pat. Not that I am trying to make that a thing or anything, but 5 minutes, 46 seconds. Since I came to pick a fight, and since he left, this is not going to be a popular decision, but what if today we go overtime? What if we stay here long enough for Drew to come back because, you know, he's at a red light. Right now he just left, he's not texting his wife, he's scrolling through Twitter. So please get your phones out, take your pictures, you too, Pat. And Pat says he's going to do it. Tweet at him right now that I am live and in living color. No pun intended. I think the pun was intended there. There was a sing his song, sing his theme song. I'm live in living color right here. And if he is not a coward, and I know that it's a big ass if, Drew McIntyre is not a coward, he will turn around and come back to this building. And in this ring on top of the ice that Gordie Howe skated on for the Hartford Whalers, and the crowd cheers, they're in Hartford, he can catch a beating that he deserves. Punk looks at his watch. I mean, what I say, ladies and gentlemen, I will hold this show hostage. So I would ask you guys, what would you want to talk about to kill some time? But that's someone else's deal. Cody Rhodes, that. So I'll ask you this. I'll tell you a story. All right? As the crowd yells, yeah. Is LA Knight in the building? Little of a recap, if you will. Back in January inside the Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre DDT'd me so hard that I posted my arm to prevent the brunt of the damage going to my neck, and I tore the tricep off the bone. And I was heartbroken. Pointed to the crowd, and you were too. I thought Drew ruined my WrestleMania dream. I had a good cry about it. I had surgery, great surgery. I picked myself back up and I realized Drew McIntyre didn't ruin anything. If anything, he postponed my WrestleMania dreams. Maybe delayed is a better word. Because in baseball, they call me a 5-tool player. I can do everything. I can do commentary. And that's what I did at WrestleMania. 5-tool player. Drew McIntyre is just a tool. Commentary, reacts. Oof. You hear that from Pat McAfee. And the crowd didn't go, oh, but you can hear some murmurings. But they didn't really react as loud as you would think. But then Punk again looks down at his watch and he says, and we're waiting, says Punk. For weeks that turned into months, I have to tune into this show that I was excited to be back on and listen to this guy run his mouth on how he prayed for me to be injured. And he's proud that I'm injured. And he prayed for this. He picked a fight. He picked a very personal fight with the pettiest man on the roster, maybe on earth. And I said last week I was going to make his life a living hell. That's what I plan on doing. But his bitching and complaining went from I injured CM Punk to CM Punk ruined my WrestleMania plans. CM Punk ruined my title aspirations. CM Punk broke my elbow. He's a hater. He hates my look. He hates the way I walk. He hates the way I talk. But when I tune in, all he does is talk about me. All he does is sit in the ring like me. All he does is talk like me. He tries to be me. And it dawned on me. That Drew McIntyre, do you hate me or do you hate yourself? Because you're a choke artist. Not like I'm a choke artist, Pat. Two very different things. Guillotine, yup, says McAfee. Looking down at us watch again, this punk. Drew McIntyre prayed for this. I am the unforgiving consequences of his action. Drew, you prayed for this, and I broke your elbow, and if you show up now or next time I see you, I'm going to break your face. Crowd cheers, and I'm going to break your heart. And all this praying you do, I don't know if you're a God-fearing man, but the fact that you haven't shown up yet tells me that there is one thing that you fear. One name, 3 syllables, CM, and the crowd yells, Punk. Music hits, and as it plays, you can hear him saying, I'll find you if you make me go to Glasgow, Scotland. I will be hiding in a bowl of haggis, and I'm going to pop out and I'm going to break your face. I'm going to break your face. Punk drops the music. What a pipe bomb from him. I think he outdid himself, and it was even better than the one last week. It was hard to do, but man, did a really, really good job. And I think that, Drew McIntyre has to come back, and he's good at doing promos too, kind of promos. So I think he's going to probably come back and hit him with a good one. So we'll see. What's his response going to be? Now, Ricochet. He's well aware of his opponent tonight, Ilja Dragunov, whom he faces in the opening qualifier in the King of the Ring tournament. And then Strowman comes in and states that he interjected himself in Judgment Day business last week because he always stands up for the little guy and he hates bullies. And he wishes Ricochet the best in this match. If you guys seen an interview he did with Chris Van Vliet, and he was bullied when he was younger because he was bigger than the other kids. He had like a growth spurt in I think junior high or something where he went from 5'8" to like 6'5" or something like that. And of course in that moment, in that time when you're in school and all that stuff, kids don't look at that with awe or like, oh my God, this dude's big. They'd be like, oh, this guy's like supposed to be 15 and he's a monster and all that stuff. So that's kind of plays into real life, and I like that. They kind of interjected that into this little interaction he had with Ricochet. Now, the first round match in the Queen of the Ring tournament, that is Iyo Sky versus Natalya. We haven't seen Iyo in maybe a week or so, so it's good to see her back. And it says, we know the history, and it's going to talk about Natty, about her family in the King of the Ring tournament, as her uncles Brett and Owen are both King of the Rings. I believe Brett won it twice. Now, this is a decent match that has a sequence where both women were trading roll-ups and ends into a powerbomb to Iyo. Really nicely done, really well executed by Natalya. But Iyo hits the double knees in the corner and connects with her patented moonsault for a 1, 2, 3. A very, very straightforward match. We knew that Natalya would not win. I think it's about her putting people over now. And she looked great in the ring. She really did look good. And Iyo looked great as usual. And after the match, we have Dakota and Kyrie join Iyo. And this is Dakota talking. 2 years ago, Damage Control debuted. And Dakota states that they are taking over and putting people on notice. And that says she will take Asuka's place as she was injured. And she's going to take on Lyra Valkeria. And she has a warning for free for Jade and Bianca to enjoy those tag titles while you still have them. And for you, Becky, once you're done with your charity case, Liv Morgan, we will be back to take everything, whether you like it or not. She's talking big, is Dakota. The new, pretty much not the new leader, but she's the new voice, the new, mouthpiece for these three, for her fellow, Damage Control, members. So she's talking big. Let's see if she backs it up when she faces Lyra Valkeria later on. Got the Mad Dragon, a little vignette, looking into his life and what he does and how he trains. He says, there is no pain you can inflict that I haven't already consumed than myself. I drink from the chalice of suffering till hell feels like home. I am Ilja Dragunov. You see him intensely working out, just doing, rope work and lifting weights and doing them in a very, very unusual way. And I guess that's his way of of getting that strength that he has and that intensity and all that stuff. And it's just like very, very well done. And I'm a big fan of Ilya. His battles with Gunther over the NXT UK Championship, he beat Gunther. I've said it before in other videos that they have battled, and he beat Gunther. Gunther actually pushed him because he was very self-doubting. He didn't know if he had that killer instinct, and Gunther of all people was egging him on and stuff like this. And then Ilja Dragunov's like, you know what? I'm gonna find that place again, and he did, and he had that intensity and all that to take on Gunther and beat him. Gunther kind of like, I don't know, shot himself in the foot by doing that. He kind of put him in a place where he found that killer instinct again and beat him for the title. Now, Ilja Dragunov versus Ricochet. This is going to be a barn burner, to quote Michael Cole, and it is a fast-paced match. I mean, what else would you expect between these two men who are of equal size, in fitness, athleticism, A flying clothesline followed by a standing shooting star press by Ricochet. Gets a near fall, but Dragunov on the outside catches Ricochet and delivers a German to Ricochet, and inside the ring he delivers a springboard missile dropkick and gets a near fall. And how's this for an insane move by Ricochet? As Dragunov is on the top turnbuckle, Ricochet stands with him on the top turnbuckle and delivers a Hurricane Rana. It's par for the course for Ricochet, but that looked like it was something that was even more, amazing from him. And you would think that this is a wrap. But no, as the Mad Dragon rolls out of the ring, but Ricochet hits a suicide dive and connects on Dragunov. With not only one, but two suicide dives. Ilya's still up, but Ricochet pulls out a corkscrew plancha and knocks the Mad Dragon down. And we come back from break, and the action doesn't let up, and we see Dragunov do a spin around the ropes, like a 619, but he lands back in the ring and delivers a Constantine special, which is a sick-looking spinning lariat, and only gets a near fall. And even Dragunov hits a senton from the top turnbuckle, and Ricochet still kicks out. But Dragunov shows he still has gas left in the tank as he kicks out of the rolling DVD, the Death Valley Driver, and a second rope moonsault. Insane shit here. It's like, oh my effing lord, man. And this is awesome chance to ring out. Why not? Of course they will. This is awesome. Dragunov hits a running knee and sets up Ricochet for a powerbomb attempt, but Ricochet flips out and ducks an attempted back fist and delivers a Poison Rana on Dragunov, who avoids a second rope moonsault and nails Ricochet with a strike and sets him up yet again for the powerbomb and drops an H-bomb on Rick's face. Ricochet. And is the Torpedo Moscow in Ricochet's future? But Ricochet avoids it by hitting a recoil and heads to the top rope, but Dragunov stops him and looks to put Ricochet away. But first he delivers a superplex and then delivers the emphatic H-bomb for the 3 count. And he'll now move on to face main event Jey Uso. And I love the sportsmanship as Dragunov raises, as his hand, he picks Ricochet up, shakes his hand, and give him a hug, and I think he gave him a real quick kiss to the cheek, like something that they do, in Russia and all that stuff, right? And that's what I love about him, because he is like that. It doesn't matter how intense. He did that with Trick Williams. Trick Williams beat him for the NXT Championship. Did the same thing. Very humble guy. Somebody who knows what this is about, and that if you beat me, I'm going to give you your due. I'm going to give you your flowers. I'm going to give you what you need to, what you have earned, my respect. And I love that about him. Now, Jackie Redmond, she interviews Sheamus, who doesn't like Gunther, and Gunther doesn't like Sheamus. But he had a banger at Clash of the Castle, at WrestleMania. Just banger after banger. But tonight is finally, this is what Sheamus said. Tonight, I'm going to finally kick his arse and go on to become a 2-time King of the Ring. And I remember when he won that King of the Ring tournament. I believe he was a heel at that moment. And he had a pretty good year, I believe. I'm trying to remember. It's 2010. That's quite a ways away. Quite a ways back there. Now, Zoey Stark, she takes on the Pitbull Ivy Nile in the first round of the Queen of the Ring tournament. And Stark is dominating Nile. Who I'm pulling for? Love her. I think she's great. And she shows up some raw power a la Davey Boy Smith does Ivy Nile with a delayed standing suplex. And follows up with a step-up enziguri. But Zoey on the outside apron executed a springboard twisting drop kick. She does that quite often, and it's a really impressive kick. On Ivy Nile. But Nile gets back in the ring and off the top turnbuckle delivers a bulldog on Zoey, but only for a near fall. Live trading of offensive moves, but in the end, Zoey Stark hits the C360 and scores the victory and moves on in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Ahead, she will face the winner of the Dakota Kai Lyra Valkeria match, and then Iyo will go on to face the winner of the Shayna Baszler and versus the defending Queen of the Ring, that is Zelina Vega. Of course, she was the Queen's Crown winner at that point. Now it's Queen of the Ring, which it should be. Now, moving on, October 7, 2022. Highlights of the IC title match as we see Gunther cheat to beat Sheamus using a shillelagh to clock Sheamus. That match, they showed it on SmackDown, and that was an intense, very hard-hitting match, and it's like a preview of what you're going to expect tonight. And that was an amazing match. Time goes on and you sometimes forget, and then when they played that highlight, I'm like, damn, I forgot about that match. Not saying that's a forgettable match, but like I said, stuff happens in your life and you move on, and so much happens in WWE that sometimes you tend to forget what happened in the past when it comes to great moments like this. And it's great to be reminded, and that was an amazing match. I'm going to go back and probably look at that match again, Now, Carlito, he's brought in by that troublemaker Dom. He brings in Carlito. Wasn't it last time he brought in Andrade? And look what happened. And then Priest, he's kind of like, you bring in another guy in, Dom, this guy might turn on us too. But Priest, as Carlito comes up to him, Priest reminds him what he did to him in Puerto Rico at Backlash. Remember when he faced Bad Bunny? And he tells him, you're looking for friends. And he says it in Spanish. Then he goes, there's no friends here. That's the past, says Carlito. Now look, you got the Judgment Day, and now you rule Raw. And that's cool. He's trying to be like his old self, and then Priest ain't buying it. Folds his hands like this, like this. And then he's all right, pretty much saying, okay, jig is up. I need help with the LWO. And for what I can see, you have prior knowledge you can help me with. You know how this works. You scratch my back, and Priest says, yeah, indefinitely, and tells Dom to get him out of here. So what is Carlito up to? He wants some help with the LWO, but then Carlito's never been someone to be trusted. Look what he did to the LWO. I think Priest is good to have his detector on, his radar detector. And I think, man, we saw what happened with Andrade. And it's going to happen with Carlito too if we don't watch it. Now, Cole, he interviews Becky Lynch, and basically she says, because at this point I grew tired of writing down word for word on these long, drawn-out promos. It's important for, the Punk one and for the opening one for Judgment Day, but, she was the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby during Backlash, but she wasn't at the PLE, she wasn't at the Premium Live event. Okay, good way to promote the champ. And speaking of champ, well, she thought she needed to dress up like a champ and wore, I don't know, some god-awful hat. What the hell was that? I'm like, is she going back to her heel fashion model Becky Lynch back in, what, a couple years ago? Which was awful. Now she talks Alba Fire, who was the longest reigning NXT Women's UK Champion. She's talking about the women that WWE, they have a great roster. It was brought up by Michael Cole. You got to be impressed with this women in this in this locker room and here in WWE. She talks about Alba Fire. She was the longest reigning NXT UK Women's Champion. And she goes, that makes her the longest reigning women's champ. She was held at like 600 plus days. And very dominant. I watched her, of course, because I watched NXT UK. And she was great. I wish she has Kaylee Ray. I wish she still had that name. But Alba Fire kind of grows on you, And she talks Isla Dawn and Kiana James and Lyra Valkeria, with whom she has a history. She has history with her as she and Valkeria battled over the NXT Women's Championship. And actually, Lyra Valkeria beat her for that title before she lost to Roxanne Perez. Now, Liv comes out and isn't having any of Becky and her overlooking her. And she runs down her resume, topped off with taking out Ripley. She goes, hey, I did all that, and I, pretty much saying that she's the one that took out Rhea Ripley. I was expecting some boos, not really no reaction. Are they tired of Liv? Maybe they're not thing, but I think she's kind of slowly embracing her heel persona. It's there. It's lurking. It's kind of like coming to the surface a little bit. And she's talking about how she wants a title match and you're like avoiding me. And then Becky's like, you didn't let me finish. Because in 3 weeks at the King of the Ring, of course taking place in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, during the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring tournament, Liv will get her shot. And she pretty much says, you get your shot. And there's one thing I'd say about you is that you've never beaten me. But plans to, and that is how she will take everything Rhea had. I'm talking about Liv Morgan. Now, she hasn't beaten Becky. Becky pointed that out. But then Liv says that she plans to, and then she's going to take that title from her because that's the last thing, pretty much, that Rhea had. And she wants to take everything that Rhea had. She took away her career temporarily, knocked her out of action. And so she basically wants to be the next Women's World Champion. Now, Damage Control comes out and Dakota flaps her gums and wants to remind the girls who really run Monday Night Raw. But Liv leaves as she was back-to-back with Becky, looking like they're going to take on Damage Control. I'm like, when is Liv going to roll out? And she does. And then that leaves Becky to fend for herself, but Lyra Valkeria runs them off and saves Becky's ass. So luckily for her fellow, Irish lass, her ass was saved. Now, Lyra Valkeria versus Dakota Kai is up next, and this will be Lyra's coming out party, and she will beat Dakota. That's my prediction. And I love Lyra. She is so talented, a natural in the ring. At one point during her time in NXT UK, she was pretty injury prone, and I'm glad that she has lasted as long as she has. She has gotten in way better shape, more better shape. She was in good shape before, but she's gotten in pristine shape. And she really is taking it seriously, and that's the reason why I know that they gave her the title for the NXT Women's title. And she will definitely be a world champion on the main roster sooner than later. And she's like, like I say to people is that, folks, I say, don't sleep on her. And it looks like Dakota seemingly knows that too. Not to sleep on Lyra Valkeria. So she's working her over. She gets her draped over the apron. And Lyra's facing outside. And then in comes Dakota with a pump kick. And then Lyra did start off hot. And she got off some offense early. And as we come back from the break, she's in control. And with Dakota on the outside, delivers a drop kick between the second ropes. It was a nice drop kick. I loved how she did that. And she sails through the air with the high cross body to a waiting Dakota on the outside of the ring, and only gets a near fall. Now, Dakota gets back into it, nailing Lyra with a stomp into the mat, and misses with a kick in the corner, and later nails it, but Lyra hits a move she calls the Nightwing, and wins and advances. She wins and advances to face Zoey Stark. It's like a Michinoku driver, her Nightwing. Or that's what it kind of looks like to me. It reminds me of that. It could be another move, because a lot of times, you scoop somebody, and then when you slam them, you just sit out, and that's what it looked like. It looked like a Michinoku driver for me, but it looked good. It looked impressive. It was enough to take out Zoey Stark, and Zoey Stark ain't no pushover. She's good, but Lyra was much better. Not Zoey Stark, Dakota Kai. Now, we have the main event, guys and gals, and it's another first round match in the King of the Ring tournament. It's Gunther versus Sheamus. It's fight night, says Pat McAfee. And boy, do we have a fight on our hands, and I am hyped for this. And Sheamus won this very tournament back in 2010 and is looking for a repeat. Sorry, Shamo, but it's Gunther's to win. I'm picking that now. I am guessing that now. I am predicting that now. But they lock horns and start with the power game to gain the upper hand. But damn, does it get heavy-handed as Gunther lays in a massive chop. But Sheamus shakes it off. Gunther gets punched, then he chops Sheamus again. And this goes on, and I'm loving it. Let them beat the holy hell out of one another. Man, those chops are leaving a bright red bruising on the Celtic Warrior, but we expected that, being as Sheamus is as pale as a ghost, pale as a sheet of loose leaf. It goes outside and Sheamus gets back body dropped on the apron. Well, no, not Sheamus, that's Gunther. Gets back body dropped on the apron, and Sheamus nails the Ring General with a clothesline on the outside. I think he hit him in the back of the head. And as this match is physical and it's going outside, it allows Kaiser to take out Sheamus. And Sheamus nails the Ring General with the clothesline. Wait. Takes out Sheamus, And since then, Gunther is in control and works on Sheamus' right leg. And of course, we know this is the very leg he uses to nail or deliver that bro kick. Now, Sheamus does make a comeback, rising to deliver a clothesline to Gunther and attempts a Celtic cross, but Gunther wriggles out as Sheamus' knees give out. But he does hit a high knee to Gunther and falls into a pinning predicament. But it's not enough to keep the Ring General down for a count. And it was with a bad knee. And how much more damage did he do? I noticed that. I go, this is not the knee that he injured. And then we see the knee give out once again, and Gunther takes advantage and delivers a textbook powerbomb, but that doesn't keep Sheamus down. My God, these two are modern day gladiators. They must have been gladiators in their past life. These guys fight like they would be perfect. Right alongside Russell Crowe in the Gladiator movie. Now, out of the kick out, Gunther transitions into a single leg Boston Crab, but Sheamus reaches the ropes and heads to the top for perhaps a splash. Does Gunther, and then Sheamus is up and he meets Gunther with a stiff shot. And is Sheamus going to pull this off? He's trying to pull this off. I'm going, a Celtic cross from the top turnbuckle. Well, Gunther is seated on the top turnbuckle. And yes, folks, Sheamus delivers it, sending Gunther clear across the ring. Such power, man. But the question is, will that be enough to put his opponent away? The answer is no. And damn, Gunther isn't going to lose that easy. Now, Gunther executes a release German on Sheamus, and he just yells, "Come on," says Sheamus to Gunther. He wants more. He gets German suplexed and just gets up. And as he stands up, we see a red mass across his chest. Possibly broken blood vessels and possibly blood. But he charges Gunther and connects with a high knee and delivers yet another one and drops the former IC champ. I mean, correction, it was a brogue that connected, but Sheamus was out of it, to make the immediate cover, and that could cost him, and it does as Gunther kicks out. Hot damn, man. And as it was when he did that kick and it ended up being a brogue, his knee was still up, and I think he wasn't able to lift the knee, but he connected with it, but it just looked like it was a high knee. But then, it was a brogue kick. But Gunther puts Sheamus in a half crab, half Boston, and will Sheamus tap. He tries to reach the bottom rope, but Gunther drags Sheamus to the middle of the ring, and the Celtic Warrior has no choice but to tap. And man, Sheamus was reaching for that bottom rope and pushing forward, but to no avail, and Gunther advances in the King of the Ring tournament. Predictable? Yes. Disappointing? No. Is it the kind of predictable that's like, man, I saw that coming? No. It's just like, I love the storytelling. I love how you think Sheamus is going to win, and you're thinking, hold up, I think Sheamus is going to win this thing. But no, in the end, Gunther wins it. He had a little bit of, help with Kaiser, kind of gave Gunther a way of maintaining his control in the match, but it definitely was his amazing ability in the ring, his stamina, his brutality, intensity, all that, for him to prevail. Raw was very, very good. From the promos to the continuing storylines that are going to be coming to a head at the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournaments in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. We saw the matchups already. I mean, Jey going one-on-one with Ilja in the next round, right? And I believe that's what it is, because it's like, if that's the case, we might see Ilja versus Gunther. It just depends on how it's stacked up. I think they change it. Like, they'll show you something, and then the next time they'll move it around or anything like that. But it did show the women, and it did line up, for the next thing. Boom, boom. You know what I mean? And I think the one with Gunther, I think that one is going to be his next opponent. It's probably going to be at the live show. I mean, I could be wrong, but there were 4 matches, 2 matches for, right? And then, you see, So, I don't know where possibly it's going to be at the live shows where we're going to get Gunther's opponent. Because we had Finn take on Jey wins. We had Ricochet take on, what do you call it? Ilja. And then Ilja wins. Jey wins. They're facing each other. Gunther wins his match. So it's just a matter of, his opponent will definitely be found out this week. Because definitely there was not another match to match him up. So that's probably what that match is. I could be wrong. I could be, that match at the live show. But regardless, whoever's going to face him is going to have an enviable task of beating him, because it's already written in stone. It's already lined up that it's going to be Gunther winning the whole thing. And then probably at SummerSlam is when he's going to, I don't know if he's going to be the one to say that, I'm cashing in this king's, this king crown, the crown of the king here, my win. He'd probably be like saying, nobody's done it before, and I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to use this to catapult my way or catapult myself right away into the number one contendership. Now, is that going to be a match that people want to see? Gunther versus Damian Priest, where they're both monster heels. They're both guys that nobody gets behind. I mean, they have their fans. I'm a fan of both of them. But who knows by then, baby? So Damian Priest will drop the belt. And then we have a match with Gunther versus whomever's going to beat him. Probably a major baby face. I don't know who that would be. I mean, I don't know how long Seth Rollins is going to be on sabbatical and resting and all that stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. Is he going up for surgery? Is he just needing to heal it? Is that type of an injury where he just has to heal it, rest it, tape it up, and then he's going to be able to go? But he's had a lot of injuries, back and everything like that, and his knee and whatever else, he's pretty banged up. So I think that that may be a possibility. That would be great to see. Rollins versus Gunther, but I don't think that'll happen. But I know what's going to happen, and that it's going to be Gunther for sure is going to win the King of the Ring tournament. The Queen of the Ring, I'm going with Lyra. I think they're going to push her. I think Triple H is going to make her the next face of, Raw. Anyway, Becky's not going to hold that title. I don't think she's the face of Raw. She's the World Heavyweight Champion of the women. That doesn't mean that she's the face. She's someone who is a reliable go-to person that they'll use to make other people look good. She looks good in what she's doing now. She's the world champ. But they're going to definitely use her to be like, you need to make Lyra look good. You need to, and it's going to be a great match because they're friends, they're acquaintances, and that respect each other. They're both both from Ireland, Irish girls, Last Kickers, if you will. That'd be a great tag team for them, the Last Kickers, right? But I'm looking forward to that match. That would be a great match. If Lyra wins, she might use this as a way to go after that title that Becky's holding. There's a lot of people that want that belt. You got Liv Morgan. My prediction in the past video I did, I said she's going to beat Becky Lynch, and then she'll have that championship. I don't know when she's going to take the title off. Maybe not in at the King and Queen of the Ring in Jeddah, but she might win it later. And then when she'll hold it until Rhea comes back, and then you'll see that culmination of that feud, and then Rhea will get her revenge, and then Rhea will get the title back, and then all is good in the world, right? Mommy's back. And that's what everybody wants. But again, that's my video. I absolutely enjoyed Raw. It was great. Really, really nothing to say that drag it down and made us feel like, oh, God, fast forward this part or not listen to this part. I was really all ears and all eyes for Raw. And Raw's been very, very consistent. A couple hiccups here and there, but much better now that Mr. VKM, the Voldemort of pro wrestling, is no longer here. The rumors of him having his own promotion and possibly teaming up with Tony Khan, which would be so funny, meaning a joke, really. All this stuff, just all these weird rumors out there, I don't get it. I really don't. Before I end this video, I read that Eric Rowan is back in WWE. So, is the Wyatt 6 going to include him? I would hope so. He's one of the OGs of the Wyatt family. We unfortunately no longer have Bray Wyatt or Brody Lee, Luke Harper. So that'll be great. And is Alexa Bliss on her way back? I mean, let's see. Uncle Howdy is here and there. I seen a QR code, but it was just so quick I couldn't catch it. But Uncle Howdy's on his way. And I can't wait for that. Especially the fact that we know that Bo Dallas is behind that. He's Uncle Howdy. And I'm so happy for him that he's going to be big now. Like his brother Bray is going to be guiding him to be a bigger superstar than he was before. Uncle Howdy is going to pop. Everybody's going to love this character. And they're going to be behind him. especially because of the fact that his brother is Bray Wyatt, and we all feel for him and Mike Rotunda and Mika, his sister, and the whole family. You know, JoJo, his Bray's fiance, and the kids. You know, so it's going to be great. Then Eric Rowan is back, and that's awesome to see that he is back, and just wait to see where he's going to fit in. And hopefully it's going to be with the Wyatt 6. But anyway, that is my video. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm looking at my sub count and it keeps going up little by little, but I am happy because that makes me happy, and it lets me know that there are people out there that appreciate the type of videos I put out. And I can only just be thankful because times are hard right now on me and my health and everything, and this brings me a little bit of joy to get over that and kind of forget what I'm going through physically. And thank you so much for those of you not only that stopped by, but those who have subbed, those who like my videos, shared them, commented, and also aside from those things, please click the notification button. Just find it wherever you can find it and click all. I think that's on the mobile feature of the YouTube. But anyway, again, that's my video. So for those of you who stopped by, checked it out, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And until next time, take care. And I will see you in my next video.